Welcome back, guys, to what will be the penultimate episode in this series of replacing the timing chains on the Japanese Land Rover Discovery 4. In this fourth episode, I install the valve covers, sort out the fueling, wiring, accessory drive, cooling parts, inlet manifold, and throttle body. So grab yourself a coffee, sit back, and enjoy the process.
So the AliExpress PCV valves have turned up. First thing to notice, you can see like some imperfections there, some pitting in the silicone. I mean, the original probably looks in better condition. Can't really see anything wrong with it, to be honest. And this is a much more sort of flexible silicone material. This is quite rigid compared. It's softer, this. But the biggest difference is, and again they've tried to replicate, if you look inside, the casting marks, they've tried to replicate it as much as possible. You can see 18823, same reference numbers there, PA 6.6 GF, missing Brussels. Nothing on the back. The silicone has some numbers on it. It says Germany on it, Bruss. This one doesn't have anything on it. But the biggest difference is, try and keep these on the right ones. See, I already got them wrong. Bruss. These are the springs. I think I showed you when I took them off that the springs are two different heights, so that's the original two. The two that have turned up, same height. And again, for the interest of science, this spring here compresses. This is the Chinese one. Somewhere around about 570 grams. The original spring, which looks to be exactly, it's a little bit more squashed because it's been more used, is about 515. So a bit worn, that one. But this one, as you'd expect, considerably less, 355. 364. So don't really know what difference it makes, but it's there for a reason. So probably going to fit the new stiff one and the old small one to the new caps. I'll keep the old ones just in case anything goes wrong, because I can't see anything that's wrong with them, to be honest. Left one, short one. Silicone helps sort of hold it in place as well. Click. Too much pressure. So I spent all yesterday basically cleaning bits ready to go back on. Things like all the bolts, if they're made of steel and they're coated in zinc, I've been bead blasting them. If there's no corrosion on them, just bead blasting them to bring up the polished look and remove any sort of surface corrosion, as in zinc corrosion rather than steel rust, and then coating everything in ACF 50. If it is rusty, then I've been sandblasting them all the way back with the aluminium oxide and then painting them with black paint. So, on to rebuilding these. I need to put new seals in. And as I said, all the bolts, these are all in good condition, so they've just been polished up and coated in ACF 50. So, let's get the seals in. Got two bags here. L-ring again, OEM. seals. Whoa. These kits are not symmetrical, different part numbers. 707.590, 707.710, so keep that in mind. I don't know which is which yet, find out. It's obvious which one it goes on, by the way. It just doesn't fit on the other one at all, hence why they're not symmetrical with different part numbers, so you can't really get it wrong. One down. And that is the last one. Finito. It's time to get this cover on. So I've wiped over it 3 times now with brake cleaner, and it needs some RTV on these 2 joints here, and then they need to be tucked down 30 Newton meters in a specific pattern. So let's get some RTV on. On this side now, just put some RTV at the top and at the bottom there. This one's a little bit more tight.
Rain has a massive hit in that one. It's these air compounds, I think. Aye.
Right, I'm getting the injectors ready to be refit when I get to that point. So I'm just refitting new seals to it. L-ring, which I believe for OEM, the injector of the Bosch, so I guess if you're gonna do it properly, get Bosch ones, but yeah, I believe this is OEM spec. So in the kit, I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 of them now, so I've had enough experience doing it, but it's not a nice process, to be honest. So in the kit, the Teflon seal drops out there. So let's tackle this first. Well, you're not supposed to lubricate, or you're not supposed to leave any lubricant on the Teflon seal. So what I found best is just a little bit of fairy liquid, because it's Teflon. Pans, it'll be fine. Lubricate this little cone with some fairy liquid. I've seen some videos and this Teflon slips on their sleeve really easily. It doesn't on mine. These are super, super tight. So slip that on. Use your thumbnail just to push it down and rotate it. Keep rotating it, pushing it down until it slips over the thickest bit. As I said, these ones are super tight. I'll do this one in real time without speeding anything up. Oh, you can see that there, just pushed on. Then the tool comes with this 1 and 2. Talk about that more in a minute, but on number 1, slot that in to number 1 where it just sits on the outside there. Grab an injector. Again, I'm going to put a little bit of fairy liquid on here. I want some lubrication so I don't damage the Teflon seal, but I don't want any lube that's just going to stick around. So, as you can see, push that on. It's slipped over the injector now, get rid of the cone. Push it home into the groove, keeping it straight. And sort of rotate, wiggle it at the same time. Right, that's on, but obviously it's now stretched. So what the tool does is it shrinks it back. It's supposed to go 1 and then 2. That's per the manual, 1 then 2. But don't know if it's just this dodgy Chinese tool. You can't get 1 on without damaging it because it's not tapered out enough. So what you've got to do is, again, a little bit more washing up liquid. This is less of a tutorial, more of just how I've done it. 2, so if you go in with 2, it's more tapered, this one, at the beginning and at the end, halfway through. But if you're just pushing it on a little bit, put it say half the way down, then you can flip it around and then get number 1 in. So as long as you get 1 in, you push it all the way home. That's it. Give it a twist, just leave it a second, let it shrink down, and then take it off. So then again, put a little bit more washing up liquid on. And then pop number 2 in. It's super tight. It's not nice, it feels like you're going to damage something. That would shrink it down as much as it possibly can go. If you're not refitting these right now, which I'm not, you might want to redo this number 2 just before you use the slide hammer to pop them back in. So let's pull that out now. You can see that's shrunk down as much as it's gonna go. And then just wipe off the fairy liquid. Fairy liquid, wherever you are in the world. Fairy's a thing. And then I've just got some electrical contact cleaner, which is just complete solvent, no lubricants in there. It's probably like brake cleaner really. That's it. So that's it for that seal. Next bit, it's a bit of a pain. Just grab this kit. You get a new spring clip there. Next to these plastic little clips that are a right pain in the arse. They're a little split clip, little nylon clip. So the flat side, again, just for reference, not many. I couldn't find this information except in some comments on YouTube videos. It wasn't showing that very well. The flat side, the wider flat side, points up towards the seal. It's the same diameter as the seal, like that. So to achieve that, you've got to sort of push this on and then rotate it round. Oh, nearly dropped it. Rotate it round whilst it's twisting round. And yeah, as you can see, it's a bit of a pain. And again, it feels like you're overstretching it. You do have to apply quite a lot of force. That's it, half done, just to show you what it is that I'm doing. Pop, that's on. And then the seal goes on nice and easily. And that's it. And when that gets installed in the car, I'll just put fresh engine oil on this O-ring and don't lubricate the Teflon seal. That's it. It's time to fit the injectors. Now, I've already done this side as a bit of a practice, and it's pretty easy to be fair. So let's get the injectors out. First things first, take out the plugs. And don't tell the missus that you're using her tweezers. Shh. Or her tampons. Just kidding. And then because I use penetrating fluid to, well, some special penetrating fluid specific for injectors to soak them out, I want to make sure that there's no lubricant on the seal where the Teflon goes. So I've got this pipe cleaner, like a nylon pipe cleaner, brake cleaner, and you want it fairly dry. I'm a bit lucky really, this is the slightly larger than the diameter of the bore, but also it goes straight through where the Teflon seal sits as well, so it's quite handy. Just don't drop it or push it too far. You can see the colour of what comes out. So the best way I found of doing this is take the compressor tool that you use to install it, give it a quick wipe with some fresh brake cleaner, just in case anything's fallen on there. You don't want to push it into that Teflon when you put it in here, but also if you do it quick enough, it's still wet and acts as a bit of a lubricant. Push it on just to compress it, then take it out and push it in as quick as you can, because it starts to expand, albeit slowly, but it does. And I tested this, I did one without doing this and it was much tighter to get in, so it definitely helps this. So these, we've done the side as I've said, these are opposite, so the clip's got the bottom here, these got the top. Actually, go all the way home, largely just by hand. But if you just give it a tap with the tool that was used to take it out, you can see. I'm not going heavy on this one, just a few taps, light ones, and that's that. I'll do the rest. So then once they're all in, just as a quick check, if you take a straight edge, I've just only got a 30cm rule and I have one long enough, but if you just pop them over the top, you can feel if any are a bit proud, and then give them another tap. Like this one here, I can feel maybe a fraction of a millimetre. This one's a little bit proud, so it rocks from that. If I pop it here, it means that this one therefore is slightly lower. So if anything, I'm just going to give this one a few more taps, and then I'm pretty pleased. And weirdly, it was exactly the same on that side. That one was a little bit proud. But that's it. So the weather's taken a turn again, so I'm turning back to cleaning. So I've got the alternator. It's a serviceable item, so I don't really want to be going too crazy on it right now, because it might be a duff. I've not really used the car much to know, so I just want to protect it. Bearings feel fine. I can't really vapor blast it because I don't want to get any media inside, and as I said, I don't really want to be taking it apart. So I've cleaned it all up with IPA with an electrical contact cleaner spray, sprayed it inside, and it's all dripped out some black stuff. Don't really want to go too nuts around the bearing area because the IPA will probably dissolve some of the bearing grease. So it's as clean as it can be. You can see there's still like rust dropping out inside here, a bit of corrosion. So I'll blast all that out with the air. But other than that, just wanted to show you the little setup that I've got that I use. A tiny little compressor that I use for stone chip repairs. A gun that I don't really use with a glass siphon jar on it with ACF 50 in it. And I'm just coating it, very thin coats. this stuff you can put all over your electrical connections as well, and it'll drive out any moisture. So right, let's get these fuel rails on. So just before I get the clips on, I'm just going to pop a little bit of fresh engine oil on the O-rings. Not sure if I showed you these, but these were glass bead blasted, and then I'm machine polish honed all these bores out because there were marks and build up on from the injector seals. So you have to be a bit careful with these because these don't fit, I think, as well as the originals. They're quite rounded rather than flat where it slides and meets the injector. So once you've installed it, you want to put pressure on these two pins to simulate where the rail's going to push down, because it's quite easy to think you've got it in place and you just haven't. So if you just push that down like that, hopefully you can see the rock. So put pressure down on those two pins, just fill yourself with a bit more confidence to see it. Fairly easy to just pop on the seals by hand because of the engine oil. So that's good. Now there is a tool for the next bit, but I haven't got it and I don't really see the need for it, that you put in the outer holes to align it whilst you start to torque up the inner holes, take the pins out and then put the outer two holes in and then torque them all up fully. But the bolts, two outer bolts will do just as good a job, and if they're all completely aligned, there's really nowhere for it to go other than in that direction, which the two end bolts will fix and sort out. So let's get this on. So just tighten these up, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and so you tighten 2 and 3 first, and you come back to 1 and 4, so it spreads outwards, the torque. This side's done, other side's done. Next, I'm just going to mark it up again with some torque seal, and then I'm going to put the coil packs back on top, 7 Newton meters. I'll have to call it soon because I think I actually hear thunder. Before I plug the looms back in, I'm just going to give everything a good spray with some electrical contact cleaner. I have to say these seals are not fun at all, these ones here. You've got to be careful because there's a green rubber or silicone O-ring there, and if there's no lubrication on this and when you push it in, it slips the green O-ring right to the back and wedges it. It's got this groove that it needs to sit in there. This one won't go in, the rest seem fine, but I'm just going to make sure. I'm going to put a bit of ACF 50 on just to act as a bit of lube and help stop any moisture getting into the joint anyway. That went in much easier. Just to show you example, this one. See how it's all wedged back? I haven't tried to put this one on yet, it's just come off like that, so it looks like it's been off before, it's been a bit mullered. You can just pull it forward a bit into that groove. Alright. That's the clip that I broke, rest in peace, and can't get hold of. It's not going anywhere, because that's a cooler. I might zip tie it, just so it's not touching it. It's not going anywhere. So you can see all the extra effort that goes into all this sort of stuff. Every single hose has been taken off. Any exposed metal has been glass bead, blasted, vapor blasted, whatever you want to call it. Every single joint has been marked up, taken apart, cleaned up, silicone grease, put back together, and then everything, all the clamps have been vapor blasted and everything coated in the ACF 50. When they finally, if they finally corrode and go really bad, I'll just replace them with stainless clamps, but for the minute there's nothing wrong with them, to be honest with you. They were just surface corroded, and that's it. So let's pop this one back on the car. Are they in? Yeah. Hiya. You come to help? Yeah. You've got smaller hands than me. Yeah.
I did.
You do? I'm struggling.
Are you me struggling?
Yeah. I'm struggling at the back here.
Good.
My hands are too big.
Hands say you're too big.
Yeah.
I'm best at things.
You want to fix things for me?
Yeah. Because that's in.
Can't get in, no. Those two hoses down there, left one's on. Thing is, you got nothing to push against. You're joking, mate, it's just started raining. Look at it. It's raining. If you're thinking of moving to the UK, don't. Yes, she's in. These two next. 1, 2.
There is some mega thunder going on over there. So I think I'm going to have to call it a day soon.
You could have helped me. Yeah. You've got even smaller hands than your sister. Hey? You have. You've got smaller hands than your sister. You get in there and do it for me.
I've pretty much finished today now before all this goes back together, so let's give it a coat of ACF. Time to get these high pressure fuel pipes buttoned back up. So just a little bit of engine oil on these threads. It's just finger tight. Back it off just a little bit. I've already done this one, and the two down there, they were a pain. It wouldn't come up as nice footage, so I just did it off camera. So then there's a sequence to tighten them. You do the unions first, and then there's a bolt right in the middle, and there's a bolt up here. Let's get the alternator bolted back in and wired in. Tensioner pulley bracket. This is another one that was media blasted. Looks pretty good. Just making sure I've got no oils, lubricants, anything left on any of these pulleys. Some copper grease on this one. This one caused me a lot of beef when I was getting it off. So I've cleaned it up with the Y wheel. So I think it's time to fit the water pump. There's a few ways you can order I can do things really, but I haven't cleaned the plenum yet, and this pipe needs to go in anyway. There's a little connecting pipe there. This is the aluminium version from AliExpress that I've got. So I'm going to bin off these seals because I've got some new L-ring ones. New one goes in there, new one goes on a pipe in here, which that pushes onto this, twists into place so it locates, and then the water pump moves in and gets bolted down. And then this pipe, these are the bits which failed and cracked when I took it out. This can then go and get wrapped over the top there. New seals. So this is a Mailer, M-E-Y-L-E pump, which is a good OEM spec brand. Comes with new bolts, new gaskets, and then you've got to swap over obviously all the hoses that you had before. I've already done some of them. Quite handy actually, it comes with some elastic bands to hold the bolts in place and the gasket, and I'm not sure if that's just for shipping, but you can just install it like that and just snip them and make sure you pull it out. So it's quite handy. Something's resisting me. Push it in before you start doing anything with the bolts because of this pipe at the back. I just loosened off these nuts at the bottom here, wasn't going in straight. Pulled this pipe onto here and then I let it push that on before I twist it. Probably do this now just in case it resists me when it's all tightened up, but you can just see, you just twist that round. It locates at the back of the block there. Let's call it until the rain stops. This is for the fan, and then there's an idler pulley behind here. So I'll get this cleaned up with some brake cleaner again and get these bolted on. Do you know what I've just realised? I was talking nonsense in a previous video. This bolt here, I thought it never had a bolt in there. This bolt is a long bolt which fits through this housing here. I wondered why I couldn't find the bolt. And yeah, so I'm going to have to take that out. It's not going to affect the ceiling anyway because this is on a, there's no RTV behind here, it's all rubber. And also I don't know how you can, it says do this bolt first. Well, that's not possible if you have to put this pulley on and it bolts straight through, so nonsense. I'll take this one out and we'll put the long one through. I'll just show you here. This long one. It looks like there should be some sort of tensioner that goes on here. I'm going to guess it's maybe something to do with the supercharged models, if this fits that as well, but I don't need that on this car. The tensioner goes over here. Last wheel to go on is the pulley. The pulley, the tensioner. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop there on the belt pulleys situation because they sent me the wrong belt. It's absolutely tiny. So I need to wait for a new one to come in the post. I think that has to go on first on the back here, and then I can do the pulley here and put the stretch belt on for the fan. Then that's all the aux belt situation finished. So I'm going to turn back now. I'm going to do this coolant hose on here, get that in, and then probably look at the inlet plenum. Alright, let's put this new hose in. These bolts, by the way, hopefully this helps even at least one person on the internet. Could not find the torque settings for these two bolts anywhere, in the workshop manual, on Google, any forums, anywhere. I did find that in the later cars like the L405, they fit the 5 litre supercharged 2 where they have a similar setup before it goes to an aluminium pipe and a plastic one, 10 newton meters for nylon, looks like sort of nylon plastic with a metal bush, 10 newton meters with the pipe that comes up here for the supercharged models. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to put thread locker on anyway, just as a belt and braces. These seals are lubed up and this should just pop in nicely. Like that. Lovely jubbly. 10 newton meters. So I've spent a fair amount of time, shall we say, cleaning this inlet manifold up. Top, bottom, back, front, you name it. All this has been rebuilt. I've checked All of these work. The Pierberg valve at the bottom is fine. All the shafts, the two shafts that move through here to change the length of the vanes work fine. Nothing wrong. Quite an interesting design. So I'm happy with all that. It's all been cleaned up underneath. I've used brake cleaner. You just got to be careful because there's like a bit of oil in here. It just constantly leaks out and I don't want any of it on the gasket surface, so I've just plugged up this side where it seems to have leaked out from, but it's all dried up now. So I've got these seals to go on, which I'll do in a minute, but before that I've vapor, I'm already calling it that again, media blasted the throttle body. Now it does say in the workshop manual don't clean inside here because it can harm the seal that it makes when it's permanently closed, but firstly normally close that position there with no power, and you, I don't know if you can see, I'll take the camera off, the light that comes through there, I assume that's for idle. There's no sort of stepper valve or anything that bypasses the throttle body. I don't know if there's another way that the air gets through some of these other tubes for idle, I'm not sure. But if you push it fully closed with your finger, it does stick a little bit, which actually it used to before I cleaned it. There's a tiny sliver of light at the top, but that was there when it was dirty. So I've always cleaned throttle bodies, never heard of not cleaning them before, so there you have it. It's fairly clean, looks the part as well now, ready for some ACF 50 to protect it. So let's bolt this back on. Got a new gasket, so pop this in, tuck these up and put the gaskets on underneath. I've cleaned up the mating surfaces just one last time. I think it's time to get this in. Back in here, there's just one electrical clip that I need to worry about for the Pierberg valve, and one hose which goes at the back there to that crossover pipe. There's two bolts that the wiring loom goes into at the top. I have to say probably the most painful part of the whole process is dealing with this wiring loom at the back. I wish they'd just put like a connector or something in the middle and get it out of the way. It's constantly in the way. Ugh. It's loosely in place. Again, we've got a specific order for these. Let's just hand tighten them first. And that's 10. Next, bolt this wiring loom back on. Just a little tip, if it's useful to anyone. Sometimes, you know, you're distracted and, well, you just can't remember and you're thinking, did I actually do every single bolt? This one's a little bit obvious because you've got a specific pattern, but sometimes it's not and you question yourself. So what I do is, this is 25 Newton meters. I'll knock it down to 20 and I'll work round from one edge in clockwise fashion back to there and check. I'd set it to less than what it should be so I don't actually disturb any of the bolts, but it will, if any of them move, then obviously I've missed one. Just a little tip. Some buckler back in. Oh yeah, and I cleaned the map sensor out with some proper cleaner.
We've come to an end in this episode, but fear not, we have one more in this series where I do all of the final engine assembly to get us to that crucial first start we've all been waiting for. We've got plenty more episodes ready to upload on this car, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. And if you haven't already, make sure you check out my previous videos and drop a comment to let me know what you'd like to see next on this car. Thanks to everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.